Well, I've traveled all across the district, and increasingly I meet people that are cynical about our leaders in Washington. And I don't blame them. Frankly, our leaders haven't been honest with us. They say that we have full employment. But all you have to do is drive through the district and see all the empty buildings where businesses used to be to know that's not true. There are hundreds of thousands of Oregonians that our government says are fully employed, who have to rely on food stamps at the end of every month in order to feed their families. Our leaders say we don't have any serious inflation. When it comes to the basic necessities of our lives, housing, healthcare, education, our costs have skyrocketed. Kurt says that Congress is pretty functional, and it's not as broken as people think. But I guess it depends on your perspective. 8 years ago, when he first took office, our average income was higher. A higher percentage of Oregonians were working. Fewer Oregonians were on food stamps. Our healthcare costs were lower. Our traffic wasn't as bad. And we still had a port where our small businesses could ship things out of state. Over the last 8 years, our jobs have gone away, our income has gone down, our education system stagnated, our traffic's gotten worse, and our small businesses have closed. So maybe in Washington, D.C., Congress seems pretty functional. But for a lot of people here in Oregon, Congress hasn't been effective at all. In fact, a lot of what Congress has done has been harmful. Kurt says he's a bipartisan problem solver who works across the aisle to get things done. But on every major issue of consequence, he votes with the bosses of his party. Trans-Pacific Partnership, Obamacare, cap and trade, the stimulus. He was an early endorser and superdelegate for Hillary Clinton, who's a corrupt Wall Street Democrat and one of the most untrustworthy people that has ever run for president. And what's important here is he didn't reluctantly support her at the end of the primaries when she became the nominee. He endorsed her a year ago. Hillary Clinton was his first choice to be our next president. And more importantly than that, he stopped being an advocate for you. Kurt, for the first 6 years that he was our congressman, he used to come back and talk about how important it was that he was on the Ag Committee and he was working on the Farm Bill. And he was right. Agriculture is really important. But last year he left the Ag Committee. And when asked about it, he said it was because his job was done there. They passed the Farm Bill. But I can tell you that a lot of the farmers in the district aren't buying it, even if some of the ag lobbyists back east are. And the reason they're not buying it is because they know that right now there's already talk of the 2017 Ag Bill, sorry, 2017 Farm Bill. And they know that if we don't have a seat at that table, then California and Florida and Texas and Iowa are going to dominate that conversation at the expense of our farmers. I'm a Republican, but I'm an Oregonian first. And if the Republicans in Congress push something that's going to hurt you and your family, I'm going to fight against it. There are times when party loyalty asks too much. My first loyalty is to you, my friends and neighbors here in Western Oregon. I'm not perfect, but I will always tell you the truth. Even if it hurts my election, and even if it embarrasses my party. At the very least, you deserve a congressman who tells you the truth. And there may be times when we disagree. Most of the time, I think we're going to agree. But even when we disagree, you'll always know that I'm doing everything in my power to stand up for you. So if you think that Obamacare has been a pretty good thing, if you think it's lowered your health care costs and helped your small business, if you think the Iran deal has made you safer, and if you think that the TPP is not going to destroy jobs here in Oregon, and if you think that Congress is working pretty well, then you should vote for Kurt. But if you feel left behind, and if you think that you deserve a congressman who gets up every day and fights for you and your family just like you do, then I need your vote. Thank you.